Israel, are you Native American or anything?
No.
I noticed you spent several years out on the West Coast working for the Maka tribe. Is that correct?
The Maka tribe, yes.
And then, from what I understand from looking at the media, you might have had some property in upstate New York, near the St. Regis tribe. Is that correct?
Yes.
Is that just coincidental, or do you have any affinity for Native American, or I mean, is that significant in any way?
I've had, I don't know how significant it is, but our paths have crossed for a long time. So,
do you have do you view these people as victims or people you have respect for?
I have respect for everybody. I just
anything in particular? Well, I guess not. From the sounds of things, but I guess you like the outdoors. Sounds like you're kind of very comfortable in wilderness surroundings, and I just wondered if that was any part of your heritage.
It's just the way I was raised. No, but I'm not Native American that I know of. No.
All right.
And if I can just ask, and I know that you've said that you've provided a lot of detail, and you have, and I'm just trying to, I guess, answer just some questions that are still lingering out there. I think you said in the May 8th interview that when you went into their bedroom that you tore or brought all of the covers off of the bed. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And did those covers stay off the bed?
Probably.
Okay. And then after you restrained them, it sounds like just with their wrists, by their wrists. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. And did they stay on the bed or did they go somewhere else?
No, I told them, I had them roll over on their stomachs, and I told them to keep their faces down on the pillow and not look at anything or talk or anything. And after they had done that, I told them to put their hands behind their backs, and I restrained their wrists and just told them to stay there.
Okay.
So basically, you were able to control them, at least initially, just by the fact that they knew you had a gun?
I don't think they knew that. I told them I had a gun, yeah.
And they obviously got the message that you meant business, right?
Not really. That was kind of the problem.
Huh. But, I'm trying to, picture this in my mind, and I imagine when you go in there, you are, kind of like when I kick a door in and I tell people to get on the ground. It's obvious just from the tone of my voice that you don't want to mess. You don't want to not do what I'm telling you to do. Is that a similar thing?
Yeah, initially that's the way it went down, but once they realize what's really going on is that,
Did they ask if you were going to kill him? Was that a big thing, or was it more like what's going on?
I think they were incredulous of the whole situation, and that was part of the problem, is they didn't realize how serious the situation was. I think they thought that they could talk their way out of it or negotiate their way out of it, and
were they trying to build rapport with you,
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Did you get the sense that they had been drinking before they went to bed? Did you smell alcohol on your breath or anything like that?
No, I didn't know. I think I knew that somebody had been drinking in the house, because I remember seeing something to that effect. And I knew that she smoked, and I don't. Beyond that, I didn't notice anything about them personally. No.
You let her smoke by any chance?
I think I did let her smoke a time or two, yeah.
Okay. All right.
When did you do that? When you were still at their house, or when you went to the farmhouse?
When we were at the farmhouse.
So did you unrestrain her during that time?
No.
Well, so did you hold the cigarette up to her mouth for her?
Yeah. I mean, she wasn't in restraints the whole time, but initially she was, yeah.
Okay. And it was during that time that you let her smoke?
I let her smoke a couple different times.
Okay. After her initial attempt to get away, did she try to get away again?
Yeah.
And when did that happen?
That happened when I was dealing with the situation with Mr. Currier in the basement. I think she could hear that there was something going on, and I think I already had her tied up pretty well by then, but I could tell when I got back up that she'd been trying to get away.
Okay. And was she successful in any way in trying to get away?
Not really, no.
Okay. Did you tell her that Bill was dead?
No. I never told her that, no.
But you think she knew it?
I don't know what she thought. I mean, she knew that there was definitely an altercation in the basement, and she may have suspected that there were. I don't really think. I think she knew that I came up and got a gun, but I don't know if she knew that I had shot it, because she probably wouldn't have recognized it as a gunshot.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Did it make more of a clicking noise when you had that silencer on it?
With that silencer on it, the only thing you could hear was the sound of the bolt going back and forth, and of course you can hear the bullets hitting. But
yeah, but from upstairs, probably not. Especially, yeah. Is it raining at this time?
I think it had started raining again at some point. I remember there was a hole in the roof, and there was a lot of water pouring down through one portion of the house. Yeah.
Yeah. You mentioned something like a hole cut into the floor for a pipe to go through or something like that. Because I know you said something about your camp stove falling down through it or something.
Yeah.
Did you get the feeling that it was for a wood stove pipe or something like that?
Yeah, I think that's exactly what it was.
Okay, all right. And from the sounds of things, she was pretty intact. I mean, physically, until like the last time you were done with her upstairs, and you mentioned strangling her, and she had kind of given up or something like that. Am I right? Is that accurate? Or did you injure her or rough her up or in any way before that?
Well, it sounds like you heard the description I gave of what.
Well, I understand. Yeah, I did. And I don't have a full understanding of what you were explaining, and maybe it's because I listened to it over a week ago and heard it once. But it sounds like you may have roughed her up a bit when she tried to escape the first time.
Yeah, I had to be a little more assertive after that point.
Did you slap her around or punch her or are you choking her? What's the?
I didn't hit her. I think I grabbed her by the hair and maybe by the back of the neck and to take her into the house.
Okay, all right. And now you bring her downstairs to finish her off, but you mentioned that she's kind of out of it as you bring her downstairs. Had you choked her out before, or is this just a result of all she had been through?
Well, I'm sure it was a combination. I mean, I had choked her.
Is choking I guess is that a part of what you do? Because I know you mentioned that the whole tying up bondage thing is important to you. I guess for lack of a better term, is choking a big element of this whole thing too?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. I mean, you're pretty angry that things didn't go exactly the way you wanted them to. Would this have had any different conclusion? I mean, you never had any intention of letting these people live, did you?
No.
Okay. All right. I can't think of anything else right now. Anybody else? Or Israel, if you have any questions, jump right in.
No.
Mr. Keith, this is Mary Morris again, obviously, and I had written a letter to the folks out there that I think you've seen a copy of.
Yes.
Okay, and obviously we appreciate your willingness to give us information today because it helps us close out this aspect of our case. And as you know, this case is a very big deal in this state. We don't have people go missing very often, and when they do, they're normally found fairly quickly. In this case, the one-year anniversary is coming up here in just a few days, and we expect there to be a lot of media attention on this, and we expect them to be painting the police in a fairly unfavorable light about the fact that we've not made an arrest in this case. And obviously we have information right now as to who did it, and we have made a commitment on our part to not attach your name to this case, and we've agreed to not charge you in Vermont without specific permission from the federal authorities. But that's based in wholly in part on you providing information about this victim in New York. And I understand that you're reluctant or hesitant to give that information. Is that correct?
Oh yeah, if I can jump in, Israel. I mean, just Mary, this is Frank. Just to let you know what we had a discussion of beforehand. I think Israel just needs some questions. Sounds like answered about the letter or about the situation. But my understanding is, he's never wavered from the fact that he is going to tell us about New York. And obviously, Israel can correct me if I'm wrong.
Correct. That's this prior to everything up to this point, the main specifics of what I've been discussing with investigators here have all been things that took place within the last year, with the exception of a trip that Vermont was also involved in. I believe they said it was 2009. So, I mean, I've given them some information on that trip. I'm just hesitant to reveal too much more about what happened on that trip until I find out what my options are as far as potential agreement or negotiation we can come to regarding whether or not I'm charged with it for number one, and at what time that information becomes public, that I'm responsible for not just the things that have happened within the last year, but things that happened prior to that. That's what my concern is at this point.
Right. Well, and I understand you've got lawyers out there that you can consult with if you'd like, and I just want to address one thing, because in the beginning of this conversation you asked, I guess it may have been through Frank, whether or not Essex was bound by that letter, right?
Right.
And I mean, I'm not sure if you're looking at this letter and trying to pick it apart and see if there's some wiggle room or whatever there for us. And I mean, I'm pretty straightforward. This is the commitment we've made because we're very interested, obviously, in closing out other cases if we can. I mean, my focus right now is Vermont and New York, and that's it for right now. And our commitment is entirely dependent on that information being provided. And I understand that you've got questions, and I'm sure they're legitimate questions that you want answered, but I'm just trying to be direct and forthright with you that's the linchpin of the agreement for us.
Well, I mean, in my mind, I don't feel that I owe you anything per se, because as far as the couriers are concerned, the only thing I've asked is that my name not be attached to it. You have all your information. You should have come to the realization by now that this crime is completely solved and wrapped up. And
right, but we're not arresting anybody for it. We're doing that based on our agreement with you.
Yeah, I mean, they obviously, they're not going ahead and charging you.
Right.
Yeah, we're dealing with the public fallout of that, which isn't great because, as far as they're concerned, we haven't solved this thing.
Well, the public knows you're looking for the bodies, which is more than you had a few months ago. So.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I've lived with this case for probably going on a year now, and and since April, I'm in a different place. But I guess it's not my issue to speak about the agreement and stuff like that. So I'll just leave all that stuff to Mary and the other attorneys. And I appreciate you giving me additional details, which you have. And if you don't mind, I want to ask you a personal question. I went on your website. Did you do all that carpentry that the photos are all about?
Yeah, everything that was on the website. Yeah.
Where did you learn to do that?
Practice makes perfect.
What's that?
I said practice makes perfect. I've been doing it, since I was 17. So. You're amazing.
You're an amazing carpenter. I wish you would have stayed that.
I've always been that.
You know what I mean? But okay, well.